Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Giardi here. You're watching the All 32 Pod, a proud member of the CLNS Media Network, and brought to you by the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America, PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use the code CLNS and get 50 off your first 5 PrizePicks. Run your game. You see a face on the screen that everybody knows now. It used to be New England. We were all like, this is our guy. Now he's Mr. National. Of course, I'm talking about Devin McCourty. 13 years in the league with the New England Patriots. His final 7 seasons did not miss a game. Iron Man, there you go. 37 career interceptions, 3 touchdowns, which I forgot to kick return in. I think it was your second year. Forgot that you did that.
Yeah.
Now, as I mentioned, a media star all over the place. You see him on NBC's Sunday Night Football in America, but he's on podcasts with Florio, and now kind enough to join the All 32 Pod. Devin McCourty, ladies and gentlemen.
I appreciate it. Me, you, and Will, we're going to get on this podcast, Jets Week, Jets Patriots Week.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Will's already in his feelings right now. You know how that is.
I get the text messages from him of what I think about what happened for the Jets.
Yeah. Oh, well. One of these days it's going to turn for him and the Jets. I want to jump right into this, Devin. You saw the Patriots in a pair of preseason games. You're calling the games locally here on WBZ TV. Did what they put out there on Sunday against the Raiders surprise you?
I wouldn't say surprise. I remember talking to Josh McDaniels, and we were in there talking, and I was like, man, like, how are things going? And, there was so much excitement, especially, I think, the way they performed against Washington in the joint practice. And then, Minnesota wasn't as cut and dry, but going out there, some good things in the game. And he said to me, he's like, I don't know yet. We haven't gotten a real game. We haven't game planned. We haven't gone in with a game plan, got punched in the mouth, and then had to respond or be down 3 points in the fourth quarter. He's like, there's so many things that we have to go through as a team together that we just don't know. So I think the hard part is right now with so much transition, when you bring in a few guys that have been there, other guys that haven't been there, a new head coach, you don't really know what to expect until you get in a real game situation. So I wouldn't say surprising, but I would say when you're so excited, and that's how every team is with week one, you want to see like some part of your team look really good. And I think for them, it was a struggle on offense. Geno Smith had a good day offensively, even though you got to him with some sacks, and Harold Landry leading the league in sacks right now. But I think you still walked away and wasn't like, man, we can hang our hat on this. And I think that was probably the disappointing part.
It's always hard, right? Because you build up the offseason. Every team does, right? Whether you have high expectations or not, you build it up, and then you get one game, and then the reactions come flooding in. And look, last year, the Patriots played terrific in the opener, right? They won in Cincinnati. And if you go based on that, oh my goodness, that team has an identity. They might be a playoff team, all these things. We know it didn't go that way. So we'll start to get more evidence here coming up. But again, it's just one game. In that game, Devin, the Patriots blitzed over 43% of the time. I'm going to take you back to your playing days because you guys would get aggressive, especially when Flores was the DC. But if I tell you were going to live in the blitz 43% of the time, how would Devin McCourty free safety feel?
Not great in a sense of it. To me, it's situational. As much as we blitz with flow, it was all about for us as a defense, get them to 3rd and 5+. Because when we got in 3rd and 5+, we lived in an era where we loved the blitz calls that we had. So when you love your blitz calls in the secondary, and the secondary has confidence, of course the front 7 wants to blitz. Like, they don't want to have to think and just go. But if you talk about we're blitzing on early downs, 1st and 10 or 2nd and 8, and it feels like those so-called, when you watch football, the run blitzes. No, like, I don't want to run blitz. Like, the run blitz might get home, might not get home. And the first touchdown for the Raiders was a blitz. And if I'm Geno Smith, if this is the blitz, like, he's comfortably sent back. Jalen Hawkins, like, yeah, you get credited as the blown coverage or whatever you want to say, the touchdown. You got no shot. I mean, the slots run at you full speed with no pressure. So, no, I wouldn't want to live in that unless we're talking about, hey, it's 2nd and we got them backed up. It's 2nd and 15. We know it's a passing situation, and we know we're sending more than they can pick up. So the ball has to come out fast. We loved that in 2018 with flow. Not so much with some of the other like early down blitzes that I've lived in with my time in New England. I remember there's a game in 2013 where we had a call that me and Talib, we hated the call. And as soon as it came in, we looked at each other and started smiling. And it's one of Josh Gordon's ultimate highlights where he catches a slant and he goes like 70, 75 yards for a touchdown. Was in a call that we hated that call.
Yeah, I can imagine that not being in the best position. And you mentioned like the Hawkins thing. Like, I don't blame him on that. Trey Tucker can fly. They didn't get home. And if you know Geno Smith, Geno's not the one who wants to take the check down. Geno wants to, oh, you're going to give me that? I'll stand in there for another second and I'll throw it in. And obviously Trey Tucker ran away from him. As a player, and you had the green dot at times, do you care who's in your ear? And the reason I'm asking, obviously, is because Terrell Williams, as Mike Vrabel announced on Wednesday, had to step away from the team for more health reasons. Not sure if he's going to be back this weekend. Kind of feels like maybe not. But just in general, whether he is or he isn't, did it matter to you? Did it matter to the defense who's calling the plays?
Yeah, it definitely matters. And I think it helps for them. Obviously, not good news for Terrell Williams, but I think it helps that the time he missed, I'm sure, they had to go through it. I don't know if they had one person do it or if they like kind of was like, hey, you tried today. So like that in your ear, that's the same thing in practice. Like you're wearing that green dot in practice. A few people are wearing it in practice. So you get used to hearing that voice. But again, this goes back to you don't know until the bullets are live. Like when you go out there and now you're in a real game and it goes from second and 15 to third and 4, and they're rushing to the ball. I need to call. How's that coach on the sideline that's responsible for that? How fast is the call going to come in? Do you have the kind of relationship where it's like, hey, Spillane, if it goes fast, don't worry about me making a call. Go make the call. Like when Steve Belichick became our coordinator, Steve was very adamant on it. He's like, hey, you've been out here for a long time. If they get going fast and I'm calling it and it's loud in the stadium and you kind of hear me, like, F it, go make the call, put us in the best position that you think as a defense. So I think that has to build, and they're going to need to get some reps and get some time together, but it matters. But I think for them, they might have already gotten used to that.
Quickly, can you feel like the anxiety or stress in the voice of the guy who's calling the play? Like, you hear like the quarterbacks, especially now, you could take it down to 15 seconds. So Josh is in Drake's ear and he's, hey, watch this, do the other thing. Sean McVay, historically, right, with Goff, was like really coached him up. Defensively, is it the same, or is it, and can you feel that sort of, you got to make a play,
No, yeah, because like when the offense is breaking the huddle, if I don't have the call, like I used to get pissed. Like, make the call. And then again, as I got older, all right, cool. You don't want to make the call? I got calls in my head anyway. Who doesn't want to be out here as a player / defensive coordinator? Don't worry about it. I'm going to my favorite calls. And there were other times that I've been in games where I didn't like to call. So they're going fast. I don't like to call in my ear. I'm going with a different call. We get to the side. Hey, I couldn't hear you, so I just made my own call. Like that's all a part of the game. And, coming up in New England, Belichick used to preach, players have to have ownership. I thought that was the ultimate ownership. Like, make a call and go with it. And, come tell the coaches a call you made on the sideline and we live in it.
In retrospect, you probably should have overridden the blitz with Gordon and the touchdown. You and Talib. I didn't hear you, man, but we couldn't do that.
I didn't have the dot back then. It was a linebacker.
You couldn't, yeah.
And safeties are a lot smarter than linebackers. That's
been proven over the course of time. All right, I'm going to have you in your playmaking days. Free safety in your prime, Devin McCourty. Would you like playing against Drake Maye right now?
Yeah, you would love playing against any young quarterback. I just think, and I'll say this about Drake is you're playing against a young quarterback in his second year and his second offense, and it's early in the season. So yeah, that's a part of the growing pains of it. As I think, as much as we talked to him in a production meeting, as much as he's enjoying Josh McDaniels and the offense and you go out there week 1 and you have all of these different reads and calls you got to make, and you get out there and it's like, all right, this is the first time somebody's game planned against us. They're trying to do different things. Now it gets a lot harder. So I think for him, it wasn't as crisp and fast as I'm sure he would have wanted it. I think sometimes he held the ball where there was somebody open and he could have just fired it like as soon as he hit the back foot. There were other times he hits the back foot and it's like, dang, everybody's covered. maybe we should have got into something else. So I think that's a part of week one. I don't think he was the only person. Like I'm over here watching the Giants game. Like I thought Russell Wilson at other times, like, there's a read where I thought the pre-snap read should have told him to look one way. He gets the ball, he's not looking there. And if he would have looked there, the ball should have came out. So I think it's just a part of week one, not knowing what exactly the defense is going to give you. That's what was always so hard about week one. We used to talk about it. Week one was about, we have a game plan and we're probably adjusting. When you're now adjusting with a brand new coordinator that you've never done that with, I think that's a little harder to do. Like, I'm sure they walked away saying, we didn't have a plan to come in and throw the ball this much with Drake Maye, but the game kind of played out and they ended up playing that way. And I think that'll help them get better. But I think for Drake Maye, it is what it is. Like, you have to go through these growing pains to get better in a brand new offense.
Yeah, everybody wants it to happen immediately. And as you mentioned earlier, this is actually his fourth offensive coordinator in 4 years, dating back to college. So, man, just give him a system and let him grow in the system. So it took him a little while last year where he felt, you felt like, oh, okay, things are starting to go in the right direction, even if maybe the team's not. Well, now it's the same thing. I know it's a different coaching staff, but he's got to get adjusted to it. The one thing I would go back to is the hesitation at times, right? And whether that's not trusting what he's seeing, him not trusting the receiver, whatever the case may be, when he let it rip, when he saw it and ripped it, that's when he was in his good flow. That's when there are the pockets of good quarterback. It's the hesitation stuff that mattered. This is going to be crazy because it's not NFL football. This is high school football. My dad was my coach, right? I played quarterback for a little while. And he used to tell me, you hitch, you haul, meaning run. If you're hitching, you don't see it, you got to go. And I ran better than I threw it, which, whatever. I'm 5'9" quarterback. What'd you expect? That to me was that moment. There were times where he was hitching it. And even when he made the checkdowns, Devin, it was some of those checkdowns were rushed where he not that the base is going to be perfect every time, but the throw wasn't necessarily as accurate as it needed to be. You got Trevion Henderson blowing up on a play. It's just settle it down and let your athleticism take over.
And I think that was something they even talked about, coming in as a rookie for him, of there's times you're in the pocket and I saw one where he threw to Pop Douglas to touchdown. And when you watch it, he kind of throws with his feet, split, for no reason, just step and throw the ball. But I also think that's a part of the game. When you're young, you speak about the hesitation, it gets spotlighted when you play quarterback. But when I was young, there were so many plays that right after the play where it would be bang, bang, and I make the tackle. I'm like, I can just go. I read it. I knew it. Just go. That's an interception. But your eyes fool you a little bit, because then other times when you're young, you see something and then it doesn't work out. You're like, oh, maybe I didn't see it the way I wanted. I need to take a half a second. So I think it's the balance of trying to understand and go. But I think as you keep playing this game, the more reps you get, you don't think about that anymore, because you're like, I've seen this 100 times now. It is what it is. I'm gone. And I think that's gonna happen for him. I just think what sucks for him right now is we live in a world of his draft class where Jaden Daniels, he saw it super fast. Bo Nix. But I think when you turn on the film this last week, Jaden Daniels missed some throws. You look at Bo Nix struggled in Denver. Michael Penix, he looked pretty good Sunday. But all of these young quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy, oh man, I didn't think his first half was as bad as people really spoke about, but he even got in the rhythm. So I just think that's a part of it. All these guys, you're not going to play the position at a high level every single time you go out. You just got to learn from it and get better. And I think that's the key for Josh and what he's going to preach to Drake. He just has to believe in that and get better each week.
Would you simplify it for him? Just because we know that Josh's offense is complex, and that's fine. I think you have to be in this league. You can't be vanilla. Defenses will chew you up. But maybe to get him, or especially early in games, to just get him settled down, because he's talked about he's amped, and you saw it in the preseason game, right? Down a couple balls in that Minnesota game. He comes out with this crazy energy, and he's got to figure out a way to sort of balance that and play smart.
Yeah, I think he has to settle himself down. Some of the throws he missed they're well, what else do you want us to call? You know what I mean? We, in the Minnesota game, we run a play action pass where Matt is wide open. That's what you want to do, right? Pitch and catch right over the middle, slant. So I think they have to let it get time. Like I watch Minnesota and JJ McCarthy, the first two plays, comes to the line. He's like, alert, alert. And he's barking all of these things. I'm like, holy, the first two plays of the game. Like he's in there, he's adjusting. And I think, I almost wrote in my notes, like probably a little too much early. But then I'm like, but is it like we watch, and I know I'm in studio with Chris Sims every Sunday, and he's always like, take the training wheels off the offense. Take the training. He's like, because sometimes he's like, you set these young quarterbacks up to fail because you are vanilla and maybe your team's good enough that you can be vanilla and you win. But then eventually, how do you get them over that next step? And I think for the Patriots and Drake, I don't think they're that good for him to live in this, like, we're just going to turn around and hand the ball off, or we're going to just run, two slants and a diagonal route. Like, I don't know if they're going to consistently win and do those things, or if they could just dominate up front to say, we're just going to hand the ball off on these scheme runs. I think he has to have it a little complicated. He has to do some things. But again, when I talk to him, he wants that. He wants to learn and grow. I think ultimately we got to remember, it's how can we be as good as possible around Thanksgiving, November time? How do we build towards that? And my teams on the Patriots, we started 2-2 sometimes, or 3-2, or 5 like it was a part of our kind of growth and progress as a team. And I think that's okay sometimes.
Those teams though had a lot more talent than this one does.
Yeah. And we still had to go through that. Like that talent still had to mesh. So now you take a less talented team and you're expecting, like, man, they got to start 3-1. Like, it's gonna be hard to do. Now, again, it's important that now you go into week 2 and you're playing against another team that they don't seem like they have it all together. Now you want to kind of go out there and show that you can play better.
Yeah, let's transition to that, because I happened to be watching your pod with Florio, and there was a direct quote from Devin McCourty. He said, "Dolphins going to stink this year." Why did you think that coming in?
The same way. Like, I get it. Mike McDaniel's going to get a lot of criticism, but like the team's not that good. Like you look, their secondary got dismantled. Like you hell bent on Jalen Ramsey can't be here, and I'm like, but why? And you don't have any, like, why are we getting rid of? I get it, he doesn't want to be here or whatever that is, but it's National Football League. Like, I don't really care where you want to be, but so you get rid of him, and the whole league knows you have to get rid of him. So you get Minkah Fitzpatrick back, who's still a good player, but like he's not the solution to your secondary. So you lose Cater Kuo, the one corner you had returning. Storm Duck's a young player. So basically their whole secondary got depleted. Jack Jones got picked up during training camp, instantly becomes your like number one corner. So now you have this secondary that is not that good. And then up front, you have Jalen Phillips, you have Chubb, you have these guys that are big names, but coming off injuries. So now the expectation defensively is for these guys to really control the defense by playing so well in the front seven. That I think is a big task to ask guys to go out there and do. And then offensively, your offensive line, you're trying to kind of still get better at that and improve that. But to me, this team is so much based on what Mike McDaniel has schemed up. But now this is 3 or 4 years in. Hey, listen, everybody in the offseason goes and watches the most dynamic offenses. They've been studying this offense, so they're now doing things to take that away. And again, I don't know if Tua was that type of player that elevates whoever's around him. Like, that's always the talk of the quarterback position of how good do you have to be for your quarterback to shine. And, we've seen Tua's he's had some unbelievable years, but I just don't think they're that good as a team. I don't think it's like Mike McDaniel, his fault that, like, hey, we're this or that. No, they're not that good as a team. Like, you can't be good as a team because you have one coach but a bunch of bad players.
How would you take it as a player? McDaniel was pretty critical over the last few days. He mentioned, hey, look, what we got from our quarterback was less than ideal, which is fair. He was 14 for 23, 114 yards, picked twice, fumbled, right? Like they're paying him $50-something million. He's got to be better than that. Talking about, Tyreek Hill hasn't had a 30-plus yard catch in a year. And he was asked about that. And he's like, well, there could have been 3 examples of him having a 30-plus yard catch against Indy, but somebody else screwed up on a play. Different guys each time. So for someone who has been viewed as a player's coach, and has had at least media-wise, had a softer touch on his players. Feels like Mike's coming out with a little bit more vim and vigor, saying like, I know you want to put this on me, and I guess that's where eventually, the buck's going to stop, but we're putting guys in places where they're supposed to make plays, and they're not making them.
Yeah, and the thing I've always hated about that as a player is no one else knows that except for us in the meeting room. But no one else knows how we scheme up protections, right? Tua gets sacked from Nick Cross, blindside, holds on to the ball that time, but then he gets sacked by Kenny Moore where he fumbles. Kenny Moore's, he's scot-free, and then the interception, they send a blitz, then they drop out. It's not really a blitz. It's a simulated pressure. So it's like, do we have answers in the offense for that? Us listening to him talk about that, we don't know. We're not sitting in a meeting. So I've always hated that as a player of, hey, like, it's easy to say this and that, but like if I come out and I say, and I talk about the film and how we weren't prepared for it, then that's like breaking news. So I think you got to always be careful with that. I've always loved my time in New England. I always felt for the most part, it was, we have to do better. We this, we that. And when we got in the meeting room, which everyone has heard about, we got destroyed in the meeting room. And, there was plenty of times we walked out of the meeting room being like, oh, so I guess it's just the player's fault today. Like, yeah, like that's a part of playing. Like everyone feels that at times. So again, I think when it's not going well, because everything he said right there is a recipe of a bad team, right? Like if you turn on the Patriots the last 2 years, you're also here, hey, we're in position. We just got to make the play. Hey, we're this. It's like, yeah, we know. Like that's what the NFL is. But when you don't have the guys, or you're not scheming things up the right way, that is how bad teams go from, the start of the season 0-1 and you end up with 4 wins or 5 wins because you consistently don't measure up. Maybe you don't make the play when it's there, or schematically you don't have the answers or something they're giving you. And I thought Lou Anarumo had a lot of different mix-ups and things in there that I didn't think Miami was prepared to handle overall. Even though they probably could have made some plays, I also thought there were some plays drawn up that no matter what the players did, it was just a good call by Anarumo.
Yeah, Mike's got to continue to evolve, as you mentioned it. And it's every year they've started out, well, not this year, but in past years where they come out and you see stuff offensively like, wow, and then teams start borrowing. And then now all of a sudden that thing that was unique has now become commonplace across the league. And you as defenders go, hey, I saw that before. I know how to do this, right? So he's got to take the next step. Who doesn't love this time of year? Football season going, baseball playoffs coming up, basketball, women's basketball playoffs coming up as well. Soccer's going. You got all kinds of stuff. You want to get involved. How do you get involved? Well, if you're into daily fantasy sports, PrizePicks is the way to go. No question about it. You just pick 2 players and maybe up to 6 to win up to 1,000 times your cash. The cross sports thing is fantastic. I love to do that, but you can just focus on one game if you want. Like if you look at the Patriots Dolphins and say, well, they never win down there, and Tua sends to rip them up. Look at Tua's numbers for passing yards, touchdowns, completions. Maybe you look at their defense, which has at times tortured Patriots quarterbacks. Chop Robinson, one of those guys. Can they get a bunch of sacks on the Patriots? Combine those numbers. Again, you can do it. You can do it with one game. You can do it with a bunch of games and get up to as many as 6 guys in one single, however you want to word that. And we'll just leave it at that. Just download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 off your first $5. You don't even have to win the $5 to get the $50 if you've never played before. So that's a great incentive to do it. Again, download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 off your first 5. PrizePicks, run your game. Speaking of which, Xavier Howard, former Dolphins cornerback, out of football last year, signs with the Colts, plays against the Dolphins, and had this quote after the game on Tua. We knew the guy. He gets the ball out pretty quick, and once we take away his first read, I feel like it's a panic mode after that, and it showed yesterday. We took away his first read, and he was trying to get rid of the ball real quick. Is that a fair scouting report, and is that how the New England Patriots tried to defend Tua back in the day?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like, you take away the middle of the field. When you watch Miami, and again, I don't know if this is schematically what Mike McDaniel wants to do, or if this is him fitting his scheme to his player. Like Tua, I don't know, is it he doesn't like to do it, or is it just – but there's not many throws that go outside the numbers. A lot of passes are right down the middle. Everybody's talked about that for years in this offense. And when you think about the big plays, it's post route to Tyreek Hill, or it's those quick hitting plays right behind the linebacker. So I think that's what the NFL now is, though. Like when you used to play against Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Eli, man, like the guys who were the guys back then, we had a phrase, get them off the spot. Those guys, what we call statues. Joe Flacco's like that now. They want to be, call it 5 to 7 yards in the pocket, right in the middle, and they want to be throwing from there. So then it was, all right, how do we blitz high towered right down the middle? Or how do we run games to get guys right down the middle? And Tua falls into that boat. But nowadays in the NFL, that is a small sample of the quarterbacks. You don't have many quarterbacks where you can schematically come in and say, hey, we could be a little reckless on the pass rush because we want to end up in the middle of the pocket and make this guy bubble outside or scramble outside. Most of the guys, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, like most of these guys, it's like, oh, whoa, don't let them get outside and buy time. And I think the Patriots, they have to take advantage. You're not going to get many of those guys on the schedule. So now that when you get a guy like this, you have to find ways to get in the middle of the pocket, take away. He wants to throw in the middle. He wants to move up in the pocket in the middle. We want to take that away, make him escape outside, get him on the run. He's not a superior athlete. Now we can run him down. Now he's off schedule. Those are the things I think they're going to want to do against Miami. And I think that'll cause a lot of problems if they could get to that.
And just lastly for me, maybe Tyreek's not what he was, but he's still damn fast. And Jalen Waddle, we know he runs well. So they have this incredible amount of speed with their receiver position. And not just those guys. In general, that's what they've done, right? Like just to get as many speed guys as possible. You can't live in man against that, right? You got to mix this thing up quite a bit from a coverage standpoint.
Yeah, and I think living in man probably makes it a little easier on Tua. When you know you're getting man, you know where the ball should go. So the big thing is disguise. Man looks that go to zone. Zone looks that go to man. Like, to me, those are the things when you go against this type of offense, just don't let them get comfortable. And I thought that's what the Colts were able to do. All right, like we're in this man look, and then we look like we're blitzing, and now you should have the middle of the field open up. Oh, no, Latu drops out of nowhere, and now you have to see that. But you have to see that while the pressure is coming on top or coming at you. And now you look, they lost one of their guards. They're going to, like their offensive line that didn't particularly play well last week, they're going to have injuries, and now you have new guys in there that have to communicate. So I think they need to apply as much pressure, but that doesn't mean blitzing and being in man. I think pressure could look different. Pressure could be both linebackers up in the A-gap, and now center, quarterback, guards, they're talking, hey, who's here? Hey, what? And now those guys drop out. Somebody else can, like, to me, those are the things that you have to do against an offense like this. You have to kind of keep it moving. We used to call it spin the dial, keep running different things, don't let them get comfortable. And I think one of the biggest things is you can't let Achane and the running game get going. Like, I think Miami's at its best when they can run or throw the little bubble screens that turn into runs to the outside that now make you want to move up, make you want to get closer, and then it opens up the play action. Then now you can kind of throw the ball behind the linebackers. If you can stop that, if your front can do a good job of, taking on two blocks, taking on doubles and defeating them and playing that way so your linebackers could play. Like, I used to love Buffalo. When they played Miami, it felt like their linebackers aligned at like 6.5 yards because they knew Tua wanted to come up and throw the ball in that 10 to 12 range. So they started further back, and it always felt like it made it a little harder for him to kind of figure out, all right, what's the window behind the linebacker in front of the safety? If I miss that, it's an interception. And I think that's what you want to do. So that's going to be the key. And, I think the thing, you got to start early against Miami. All off season, it was about, does Tyreek Hill want to be here? Oh, we got to get rid of Jonnu Smith. Oh, we brought in Darren Waller. Like, it's been a lot of things other than football. And when you play against a team like that, if you jump on them early, you make those things come back into play. Is there somebody going to get frustrated on the sideline? Like, that's why if you let them get going early, it just makes the game a lot harder. They didn't believe they can win.
Yeah, they're already feeling that sort of way. Patriots haven't won in Miami since 2019. That was Antonio Brown's lone game as a New England Patriot. They can't beat Tua. What is it about Miami? Like, what is it? Because historically, Devin, for the entirety of your career, for the entirety of Tom Brady's career, you were the better team. You had more success. Like, they weren't on your level, but it was a absolute bitch to go down there and win football games.
Yeah, I mean, I love Bill. Bill used to always, but I don't want to fucking hear about the weather. The weather. It's like, no, the weather plays a part of this. And again, we won a lot of games, and Bill's madness, resulted to a lot of victories. But I always hated our Miami weeks at the end of the year would be going in the bubble, cranking the heat up. And I just felt like that would wear us down. And now you're going in the game worn down. We open either 21 or 22 in Miami. I forgot which year.
Yeah.
And we went down there early so we could get acclimated. But like, instead of getting acclimated again, I felt like by the time Sunday came, it was like, holy, you know what I mean? Like, I think that played a part in it. But no, again, it's tough playing in Miami. Like, when you're not a team that plays in that kind of heat with the sun blasting on you, like, that's a part of the game. Like, even for Baltimore Buffalo game Sunday night, like, they weren't as aggressive because Lamar Jackson was cramping. Like, that sounds crazy, but that's a part of it. And I think physically we've struggled in Miami. My days when I was playing, not everybody, playing and being themselves because of that. And then I think towards the end of my career, I wouldn't go out on a limb and say we were that much better than Miami. In 19, we were better than Miami. And in 21, Miami beat us at home and beat us in Miami. So it always felt like we were better than Miami, I think, because of how Tua was viewed by the rest of the league and the different things. But, like, some of those years, like, we're playing against Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Like, those teams had some players. And I wouldn't say, like, we were just this, like, super talented, great team. So there were some battles in there. But we definitely struggled in some of those years that, I think we walked away from seasons, like, specifically in 2015, of being like, man, that loss in Miami at the end of the year, and then us having to travel to Denver. I just remember feeling like, man, like, this game, and it's crazy to say, but to walk away and feel like that game lost us the Super Bowl, the chance to be in the Super Bowl. But there were years we felt like, if we just won in Miami at the end of the year, and 15 was rough. Like, we had so many injuries. Yeah. So I think there were different factors that went in there. And then when you do struggle, for us, because of how much we dominated the division, when we did struggle, it made people forget that, like, we still probably had a winning record against Miami, but because we lost in Miami, call it 5 times in 8 years, people were like, man, they're so bad in Miami. And it's just like, yeah, I guess kind of when you look at the rest of it, but it's not like the end of the world,
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. 15 was AFC Championship game thrown to Austin Collie, and I think Slater maybe even got a deep shot in that game. That was the Steven Jackson game, right? The regular season finale in Miami.
Yeah. Where we weren't going to throw the ball until we ran for the first down.
That's the Belichick madness you were referencing that didn't actually work out. I've kept you far too long. Devin McCourty, really appreciate your time. As a reminder, you can see him everywhere, but NBC, Sunday Night Football in America. He's the shortest guy on set.
By far.
I mean, Maria's like, what, 6'2"?
She's 6'2". She's 6'2" without heels. Yeah. And then in studio, they show our feet, so she always wears heels. And she gets on me all the time. So I get it.
That ain't right.
I'm the fastest on set, though. I'm still the fastest on set. We just don't get to showcase that.
This is true. And if the secondary keeps blitzing, the Patriots keep blitzing, they might call you up and ask you to do some things going forward at the end of the season. He's Devin McCourty. yeah. The shoulders. You got a good gig now anyway. Anyway, I appreciate your time. We will talk again.
Good to see you, Mike.
We thank Devin. Great to have him on the program. Hopefully we will do that again at some point later in the season. Before I get to 4 quarters, and we're going to do a really quick one because I thought Devin was fantastic. No need to go too much deeper than that. But I do want to remind you, as I record this, it's Thursday, September 11th, and Boston joins the 9/11 Memorial and Museum Tribute in Light, born in New York, as twin blue beams over Lower Manhattan. At dusk, landmarks around Boston and Cambridge will glow blue, from City Hall, Fenway Park, the Prudential Tower, to the Zakim Bridge, the Hub on Causeway, Berkeley Performance Center, and more. The tribute, now in its second year, was spearheaded by our friends at Gupta Media in Boston. Take a minute to step outside, look up, and remember the lives lost and those lives that were changed forever Boston certainly remembers, and I certainly do here as well. That was a difficult day in American history. No real easy way to transition from that, but we'll do it 4 quarters quick. Again, number one, we talked about it with McCourty. Hit Miami, hit him hard, hit him early. This team is coming off a wretched performance, the worst performance of any team in week 1. I had them 32nd on my power rankings for good reason. They made Daniel Jones look awesome. 7 possessions for Indy. They scored points on all 7 drives. That's ridiculous. That's Buffalo versus the Mac Jones, Bill Belichick Patriots. Remember, there was a couple games back-to-back where they didn't make them punt. So get to them, and this team could collapse because we're seeing it. They're hanging on by a very thin thread. Number 2, second quarter, Drake's got to be better. Never mind the inaccuracies that some even led to completions or some of the poor decision-making, the inability to settle himself down, especially after facing adversity following the first interception, didn't deal with pressure very well in the game. He needs more support from his teammates. Obviously, they'd like to be able to run the ball, but look, there's a lot on the quarterback. There needs to be a lot on the quarterback. If the Patriots are going to win more games than they lose this year, Drake Maye has to play better than he did in week 1. He and Josh McDaniels now have a full game under their belt, now adjusting to each other. We'll see how that grows in the weeks ahead. Third quarter. Doesn't look like Christian Gonzalez is going to play as I record this. Again, missing practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Has not practiced since July 28th with that hamstring. As I mentioned last week leading into Vegas, I started to get more nervous because I knew he'd get money downs against Brock Bowers and probably as the game went on the way it did, probably against Jacoby Myers as well. Now to go into this game without him, facing, even if he's not the same, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the amount of speed that they have on that football team. Gonzalez did a really good job last year in his opportunities against Tyreek Hill. That could be an area in which they could be exploited. Patriots will, as McCourty said, have to mix it up quite a bit because you can't sit in one defense and certainly not in man against this team. And last but not least, fourth quarter, by any means necessary. Doesn't matter whether you win 42-41 or 5-3, 3-2. I mean, that wouldn't be great, but you get the point. This team needs a win. They need good vibes. They had a good summer, felt good about themselves coming to the opener, and did not play to the level that they expected internally. And they looked at it internally and said, it's a lot of things that we did to ourselves, not that the Raiders did. The 9 penalties. Again, the strip sack fumble, which really wasn't a strip sack on Drake. Drake just kind of dropped the football. The interception, things that can't happen, a couple miscommunications, the inability to adjust on the offensive line to some of the different things that the Raiders defensive front was doing, which, by the way, again, aside from Max Crosby, not this awesome group, but you couldn't run the ball. So they look at it and say, all right, we can be better. We will be better. We have to be better in Miami. And again, I don't care how they get it done. Drake has to throw it 50 times or they run it 40 times, whatever. This team, even though they turned over 27, 28 players in the roster, still feels like there's a questionable bit of confidence when it comes to this. Can we win close games? Can we win games, period? And to get a win early in the season in a place where they don't normally win, I think would do great things for this Patriots team going forward. Again, not predicting they're going to win 10 games in a row, but just get that good vibe and show each other in the room, the new guys, the old guys, we can do this and we can do this together. Obviously got to thank you for being involved as we continue to sort of rework this all 32. Thank you for taking part in it. Thank you for liking, rating, reviewing. 5 stars are wonderful. We appreciate that. The feedback is great too. As long as it's constructive, I appreciate that as well. More, give us more. Let us know what you want. I do want to incorporate at some point you into an episode, whether it's mailbag, whatever, however we work that. So give me some good comments, give me some good questions, and maybe we can use that going forward. And just again, in terms of this, subscribe to Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel. A lot of other great Patriots content there, aside from what I'm producing here. Also, please make sure to turn on your notifications so you know the instant a new video drops. Thank you for being with us. I will see you on Monday with Callahan on Pat's Interference. I think we're set on an 8:30 time on Mondays on a normal Sunday game. So that'll be our second episode. And then I'll be back Tuesday and later in the week as well with a solo edition and then a guest edition of the All 32 pod. So thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.